I wanted to transform my derelict insect-infested hallway into this mosaic masterpiece. But first, I had to make some catastrophic mistakes. I nearly lost my finger, and the whole project might have to be cancelled halfway through. I'm a complete DIY beginner, I don't know what I'm doing, so let me make the mistakes so you don't have to. Let's get started. Bored up, look at the state of this.
Alright, come on in, Rory.
I had to start by ripping out the existing boards. They were this mouldy MDF-like material, they had an awful smell and they were full of insects. Horrendous. Quick fit check, by the way, it is absolutely boiling today, so I'm going to have to make a small sacrifice. These floorboards are immaculate, so it feels a real shame covering them up. Anyway, the tiles are going to look good, so I have hoovered this floor, it's clean, it's prepped. I'm now going to begin to cut down the backer boards that I'm going to fit. I will explain that process because, again, slightly complicated, but we'll get there in the end. Now this is the backer board. It's made of cement, it's called cementitious board, it's vaguely waterproof, it's very strong and rigid, so it's the perfect surface to tile onto. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this down to size, I'm going to screw it into the floorboards, I'm going to lay some tile adhesive underneath this before I screw it into the floorboards, so we've got a very clean, rigid surface to tile on. I'm not going to lie, cutting this stuff is an absolute nightmare. And that is a pretty good fit. As always on these jobs, things don't quite go to plan. And that first backer board that I put down has taken me about 2 hours. I'm not even joking, my hands are in bits. So the obstacle I've been trying to cut round is this pipe. I've cut the niche out of the backer board really slowly because it's taken me ages. My hands are in bits, mentioned this before. Good fun. Let's see whether it fits. Doesn't fit. We're now on the night shift. I have got the boards cut down size, fitted, tessellated into position. I need to mix some adhesive, paste that down, put the board down, screw it in, let it set overnight. Let's do it. So I've got that looking like creamy peanut butter, which is the desired consistency. Okay, it's day 2. We managed last night to get all of the hardy backer board down onto the floor, so we've got a clean surface to tile on this morning. I think what we're going to do first is set out all of the tiles so we know that we've got them all in the right position. There is a couple of issues because obviously, like many old buildings, the walls aren't quite rectilinear. Let's get started. As you might have noticed, I've gravitated outside. Why have I gravitated outside? The reason for that is because I'm going to explain the tiles that make up this entrance hallway. So the strategy here is we have the perimeter of the room drawn in red. red. Within that, we sit our 4 corners using the corner pieces. We connect the corners using the border components. This creates a frame that we then fill in using the 6x6 square tiles. Once the body of the layout is complete, we're going to fill in the areas outside of the frame using individual tiles cut out of the 6x6 squares. All of the tiles used are the fantastic Victoria White and Black Chequer Mosaic range from Tile Mountain, who have kindly sponsored this video. I only work with brands I genuinely like. After all, I'm using them in my own home. These tiles are super high quality, reasonably priced, and most importantly, look really, really good. It was at this point I realised I'd made a huge mistake. I hadn't ordered enough borders. This was going to delay the entire project. I took a very, very risky decision and I decided to crack on with fitting most of the tiles I had set out anyway. Would this come back to haunt me further down the line? Let's find out. Here I am going to make up the adhesive, flexible tile adhesive. I've got this product, Rapid Set Adhesive. Got a watering can. You're looking for a consistency like peanut butter. Consistency, peanut butter. Okay, so we've got the tiles laid out and we have used the laser level to make sure we've got a very straight line. We've set out the border to get that straight, and then we're going to fill in from that. So we've got rectilinear corners. We've got the first few tiles down. We're at the final part of the tiling. We've tiled all the way from the doorway to the entrance. Final pieces, hopefully it should all fit. It's been quite difficult. It's always quite stressful with liquids and tile adhesive because it goes everywhere and it goes off. But yeah, we've done a good job, so let's get it finished. Put it in. Corner. What I'm doing here is I am cut strips of tiles off and I'm just fitting them around the border. Like such. I've just got the delivery of the tiles that I misordered, so we can actually finish the job, which is really exciting. So let's get this open, check we've got the right stuff, and let's get it done. These are not getting chipped in this packaging. Now hopefully this will fit in position. It didn't fit in position. So I spent the next 2 hours slightly adjusting the tiles so the border would fit and also be straight. Good fun. So what I'm doing here is I've got the individual tiles, I'm putting them onto the floor, and I'm just marking on where I need to cut. Take them to the tile cutter, cut them down, and we should have a bespoke cut that fits perfectly in the place. Yes, I know, before the tiling please come in the comments and come for me. I know, I should have this thing outside. But being the professional I am, the extension cable is at my parents', so unfortunately we're going to have to cut these tiles inside. This is a tile cutter. Look at that, great fit. One thing I like to do is I like to use, and don't get me wrong, this isn't some kind of secret hack, I use a post-it note. I cut it to the same size as the tile, like that, and then I place the post-it note in the gap. I get my pencil and I draw where I need to cut round. So put your post-it note down, get your tile, back on your tile, and there's your template. Finally, I've got all of the tiles secured to the floor, and now is the time to clean up and grout. So I'm going to hoover, scrub the floor, grout, clean it up again, and then hopefully we should have a really good finish on this floor. Let's get started. Now I am using this industrial size toothbrush to scrub the tiles, get rid of any excess tile adhesive. Got a bit of a sponge just to clean them up as well. Bit of a slog, but get on with it and put the hard work in now, and it'll pay dividends at the end. Alright, this is a little bit annoying. Like I said, I noticed a couple of the tiles were quite loose, so I've cut them out, removed them, mixed up a tiny bit of tile adhesive. I'm just going to stick them back down now. I am just mixing the grout. I have got this Mapai grey grout, quite simple. Pour it into there, mix a bit of water, mix it up, get a good consistency, similar to peanut butter, and then we'll lay it down over the tiles. Let's get this mixed up. I'm now about to start the grouting. It's usually quite a messy job. Everyone has a different way of doing this. I know I'm going to get hammered for this because people have certain ways of doing things. I like to use a thin scraper, take out little bits and push them into the gaps really precisely, and then wipe it down, less mess. I know some people like to smear the grout everywhere and then wipe it down, but mess gets everywhere. I'm using grey grout. I have also got one of these combination squeegees, which is really good. It has this kind of like rubber pad that lets you kind of like smear. Really useful, would recommend. So I'm just taking off a little bit of the grout and pushing it into the gap like so. I have kind of changed my technique with this. Before I was being quite precise and kind of dropping the grout into the gaps, but because the tiles are so close together, it's kind of a lot more efficient just to smear it all over and clear it down. A lot messier that way, so there's a lot more cleaning up, but when you've got bigger tiles, it kind of makes sense just to do the bits, the isolated areas, whereas with these, because the tiles are so close together, you're better just smearing it all over. I'm still doing it a bit, to be fair. Okay, so as you can see, I've applied the grout. Now, what I'm going to do is wipe it down with a sponge, clear it out, get rid of the excess grout. Obviously, there'll still be a bit of muck on, I'll have to clean it again afterwards, but we just want to kind of do an initial wipe down. The next day, I began the final cleanup. Hot soapy water and good old elbow grease. This was hard work, but I could finally see the finish line in sight. This has been a ginormous task, but we've finally got the entrance hallway completed. Let me reveal the final finish. Let's check it out. What once was an insect-infected hallway is now a lavish welcome, restoring this entrance to its former Victorian glory. Let me know what you think of the final finish in the comments. I think I could have cut some of the tiles slightly better, but I'm really happy with it. Next time, I'm going to be attempting to fit an entire bathroom for less than £2,000. Can it be done? Can I keep to my budget? Make sure you click follow to keep up to date with the journey, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Your support is never taken for granted.